One day I was sitting in seminary at Mountain Crest High School at the Hiram LES Seminary. I was a sophomore, so I was 16 years old, and my teacher that year, it was the Doctrine and Covenants year, and my teacher was Brother Courtney Rasmussen, who also happened to be my brother-in-law. He had married my oldest sister, Dana. And Court was a very dynamic teacher in that setting, and I loved learning about the scriptures from him, and he brought them to life for me. And one day I remember sitting there as he was teaching a lesson in section 42 of all places, and I just remember looking at him and watching and thinking, that's what I want to do when I grow up. I want his profession. I want to do what my brother-in-law, Brother Rasmussen, does. And so that started me on a trajectory starting at age 16 to say, I'd like to be a seminary teacher. So I started talking to people and finding out, well, what does a person need to do? And I found out that there's no degree, that you just have to get a bachelor's degree, and then you have to graduate from institute, and you have to take the seminary teaching courses and then do some practicum teaching and student teaching, and if everything went well, you'd get hired, but for most people, it doesn't work out. And so everybody said, well, make sure you get a degree in something that will be able to provide for a family, because chances generally aren't in your favor. And so I stopped and thought about that. Okay, what am I interested in? What classes at school are the most engaging for me? And I loved my math classes, my science classes. I loved the whole creative design in a left brain sort of a way. So that led me to pursue a degree when I came home from my mission in electrical and computer engineering. And I went to all that work, and I loved engineering, but at the end of the day, I really wanted to be a seminary teacher because that's where my heart was. I had, during my junior and senior year in college, I had an internship with an electrical engineering job, and I student taught seminary for those same 2 years. And my wife would be able to tell me the minute I walked in the door if I had come from seminary or if I had come from my electrical engineering internship. And I asked her once, I said, how do you know? And she said, it's all over your face. When you come home from seminary, you're smiling, you're happy, you feel light, you talk to me. She said, when you come home from your electrical engineering job, you have a furrowed brow, you look worried, you're thinking deeply. It's like you're solving a problem, which I was. I was still working on issues from work and how I could figure out a design to fix the problems I was working on. And that created an interesting scenario for us, because when I graduated with my electrical engineering degree, I got a job offer for that industry, and it turned out that I got a job offer for the seminary job. And we looked at the numbers, and it was a 35 to 45%, depending on the two job offers in electrical engineering. It was significantly more money being offered on the engineering side compared to the seminary side. And that caused me to pause, and I sat down with my wife and said, Kiplin, what do we do? Should we do the seminary or the electrical engineering? And she just looked at me very calmly and she said, you already know what we're going to do. And I said, what do you mean? She said, how do you feel when you're teaching? And I said, I feel alive. I feel happy. I feel excited. I love that. But I also like the electrical engineering. She said, but it doesn't feed your soul. It doesn't make you feel as fulfilled as the seminary. And I said, you're right. And she said, money isn't everything. The Lord will provide for us. He'll take care of our needs as long as we pay our tithing and generous offerings and keep the commandments that He's asked us to do. We don't need to worry about the money. We'll have enough to take care of our needs. And that was a defining moment when I realized she's right. So I turned down the different offers for electrical engineering and went with a much lower salary but a much higher reward of a career in church education.